We're about to get started. If we could have everyone move up towards the front, please, so we can have a more intimate setting, if that's okay. We can just move up towards the front. I want to thank everyone for coming out. My name is Brother Sharrell Muhammad, Brothers Helping Brothers, also from the Nation of Islam. Good friend with our host for tonight, Mr. Brandon Lawrence. Let's give Brandon a hand for putting this event on this evening. This is the third event that Brandon has hosted here. The first one was entitled, Are There Enough African American Professional Men to Go Around? That was a very hot topic that night. Very, very interesting. We talked a lot about male-female relationships. Then there was another conversation about the N-word. And we had someone from the hip-hop community. We had professionals here as well. Very good discussion. But tonight is Meet the Media night. So we want to get right into the program. We want to thank everyone for being patient with us. But this is Meet the Media night. And if we could get Brandon to come on up, we'll get started. Let's give Brandon a hand.
Thanks, Brother Gerald. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Tonight, like Gerald said, it's Meet the Media night. You got, I guess, 6 or 7 of the hottest journalists in Kentucky, in Louisville, in the country are watching. You watch them every night, and we're going to get right into it. We'll just bring them on up. Adam Lefkoe, he's a Emmy Award-winning journalist at WHAS. Probably saw him on World Star Hip Hop. He's done the hip hop news, rap, Seinfeld, the news about nothing. Well,
yeah, some wrestle too.
Wrestle, so he's versatile. We're going to bring up next Miss Carmen Dickerson. She's from WHAS, hailing from Los Angeles, California. She's covered some big-time stories, including your councilwoman, Barbara Shanklin. She's gone toe-to-toe with Harvey Williams.
He survived.
He survived. Ooh. Also, we got Paige Quiggins from WDRB. Hometown product. I see your mom's in the audience. How you doing, Mom? Paige is covering some big time stories as well. And we thank you for coming, Paige. We want to get into it with everybody. Kendrick Haskins is next. He's coming up from Wave 3. Fern Creek's finest. Kendrick does the sports over at Wave 3, and we're going to get into, we basically want to talk about some big stories that happened this year on through. And Kendrick, you reminded me that UofL won this year. I forgot that was a big story this year. I'm still stuck on 2012. Sharrell Hubbard. I couldn't see. Sharrell Hubbard's next. Sharrell didn't send me her bio, but I know she's from Detroit. She went to Cass Tech. That's a school a good friend of mine went to a long, long time ago. She's been to Fort Wayne, Detroit, where? Is that it? Chicago.
I'm here. Now I'm here.
And Sharrell's at Wave 3. I forget, it's all these W's. And we got, I know we couldn't leave the radio people out. We got the political editor of WFPL, Philip Bailey. I think you got Dang, oh yeah, I remember he went to like Northwestern's. Yeah. You don't read it. But you know Philip Bailey anyway, so you know. And last but not least, we got your man, my man, Stefan Johnson. He said he didn't want to get introduced. We ran out of schools.
Is he from Fern Creek too? Yes, sir.
Frank Creek Hall of Fame, bro. You stand up? Okay. And you know, you got a basic intro. You see them every night, see them every day. They do the news, and we wanted to bring this to you so you can get introduced to them, introduced to some, reacquainted with others, more familiar. And we're going to talk about basically the big stories of 2013, what you covered. And we'll start off with, since everybody's so hyped about you, we'll start off with Kendrick Haskins. What was the big story that you covered in 2013, Kendrick?
Well, of course, it was the Final Four. We went down to Atlanta, and I actually started with IU during the NCAA tournament, went to Dayton, and then went over to DC, and then once they lost, came back, held down the fort, then went on to Atlanta. So 2013 national champions, and also was in 2012, like you said, University of Kentucky when they won their national championship in New Orleans. And so been a very busy sports year. Also went to Omaha for the College World Series for the baseball team, and the women was in the Final Four, so it was a big year for the University of Louisville this year.
We're going to stay on the sports tip. It's been a crazy 3 years, man. I've been here for 3.5 years, and I mean, we've been so nationally relevant. This area has been Kentucky, Indiana, Louisville, Bellarmine, Murray State. It's been absurd. And it's always nice when the rest of the country is talking about Jefferson County. I think what's been really interesting is to see the players on this team embrace the community, because that's what we're here. We're talking about community too. And you know, it's funny when you talk about the 1980 champions. Those guys are all over the place, and then some champions stay and some leave. Well, this year, I mean, with Gordy out there in the community all the time, and Siva was everywhere, and Russ Smith. I mean, every time I turn around, that kid's behind me. So it's been cool to see the city embrace and to get a champion. I mean, we shoot, man, 1986. I mean, not to date, I was born in 1986. That's crazy. So it was very fun to see the other half of this city celebrate, and that was a big story for us.
Wait a minute, okay. Raise your hand. In '86, I was in high school, but I was a freshman, or maybe I was in middle school. I got in the car and rode around Newburgh and on Broadway. Did you guys do that? Yeah, right. '86, yeah. So that was great. I remember covering that and covering Rick Pitino. Did you guys believe that he would make the turnaround that he did? That's awesome. He talked about having that one-day contract with himself in his book. I would say the biggest story for me has been, without question, David Camp. I never thought that we would see a third trial. I remember when that happened. I was living in Evansville and just home, you know, visiting, and I saw it on TV and thought, wow, that's crazy. And then here we are 13 years later, and it's still going on. And a lot of the speculation from people who covered it and been in the courtroom is they think that he may actually be acquitted this time. So covered a lot of news stories, but that's absolutely the biggest story of the year for me, I think.
Biggest stories of the year. Well, I guess because Brandon threw it out there. Is it this one? Well, I guess because Brandon threw it out there, my interests have always been sort of political, civic-leaning type stories, and of course you can't, Barbara Shanklin, who knew the way that one would continue to just sort of snowball into a bigger and bigger story. I remember, I think it was, May of last year when we first heard about that, the first allegations that initially came out. The Courier Journal had published a series of articles that had, based on tips they had gotten about things about Councilman Shanklin, and the TV media sort of jumped on that. And the challenge with being TV is that the newspaper gets how much space to put out a story. And Barbara Shanklin is what we call a newspaper story. It's about a lot of facts, about a lot of detail, but getting into all those in a minute and 15-second news story, it's